Welcome to Snap. Explain, please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. On September 16, 2025, the Philippines is making a decisive geopolitical shift, a move that has been brewing for years amidst growing regional tensions. Moving firmly back into the embrace of the United States, this decision marks a significant realignment in Southeast Asian geopolitics. This pivot is a significant pushback against Beijing's assertiveness in the South China Sea, a critical commercial artery that sees trillions of dollars in trade pass through annually. Manila's decision signals a coalition of nations determined to uphold international law and ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific, a region that has become a focal point of global strategic interest. The Philippines has chosen a system of rules and norms over might, becoming the central arena for the US-China rivalry. This choice reflects a broader trend of smaller nations seeking to balance power dynamics in their favor. This shift will shape the security, economy, and diplomatic landscape for decades. The economic implications alone are vast, as the region is a hub for international trade and investment. Understanding this requires delving into the complex interplay of history, economics, and national pride. The Philippines' colonial past and its strategic location have always made it a key player in regional politics. The story of the Philippines' changing stance is a microcosm of a larger global trend, where nations are forced to choose sides in an increasingly polarized world. This realignment is not just about military alliances but also about economic partnerships and cultural ties. This pivot was the culmination of years of escalating tensions and a renewed realization of the importance of old alliances. The Philippines' strategic decision underscores the enduring relevance of historical ties in contemporary geopolitics. The world is watching closely, as what happens in the waters around the Philippines will not stay there. The ripple effects of this geopolitical earthquake will be felt far and wide, influencing global power structures and international relations for years to come. To truly grasp the complexities of current events in the Philippines, we must look back at the nation's long and intricate history with both the United States and China. The Philippines has often found itself at the crossroads of great power rivalry, its fate shaped by the ambitions of larger nations. This dance between giants has defined not only its foreign policy, but also the everyday lives of its people. The US-Philippines relationship, rooted in a shared colonial past and a mutual embrace of democratic ideals, has long served as the bedrock of Philippine security. For decades, American military bases dotted the archipelago, symbolizing both protection and influence. The alliance brought economic aid, military training, and a sense of partnership that shaped the country's post-war identity. However, as Filipino nationalism surged in the late 20th century, calls for sovereignty and self-determination grew louder. This led to the historic closure of U.S. military bases in the early 1990s, a move that signaled a desire for greater independence and opened the door for new international relationships, most notably with China. Under President Duterte, the Philippines made a bold pivot toward China, seeking economic investment, infrastructure projects, and closer diplomatic ties. Hopes were high that this new partnership would bring prosperity and stability, as China promised billions in loans and development deals. Yet, the deep-rooted connections with the United States never truly faded. The defense alliance endured, with joint military exercises and ongoing cooperation reflecting a relationship that was never fully severed. Many Filipinos continued to look to the U.S. as a trusted partner, especially in times of crisis. In 2025, a major regional survey revealed overwhelming support for Western-style democracy among Filipinos and their Southeast Asian neighbors. This sentiment underscored a deep wariness of China's authoritarian model and a desire to preserve democratic freedoms and institutions. Meanwhile, Beijing's failure to deliver on its promises, coupled with increasing aggression in the South China Sea, fueled public frustration and anxiety. Maritime standoffs and territorial disputes only deepened mistrust, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in foreign policy. Today, the pendulum has swung back. The Philippines is reaffirming its commitment to its historic ally, the United States, seeking security, stability, and a future anchored in shared values and mutual respect. The election of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. marked a dramatic reversal in Philippine foreign policy. For years, the country had leaned toward China, hoping for economic growth and regional stability. But as Marcos Jr. took office, the mood shifted. The nation watched closely, wondering if he would follow his predecessor's path or chart a new course. Initially, Many expected Marcos Jr. to continue the pro-China policies that had defined the previous administration. However, China's escalating aggression in the South China Sea quickly changed the equation. Incidents of harassment and intimidation against Filipino vessels became more frequent, raising alarm among both the public and the military. The new administration soon concluded that appeasement had failed. Instead, Marcos Jr. and his advisors adopted a strategy of peace through deterrence, believing that only a strong defense could safeguard Philippine sovereignty and interests. Strengthening military capabilities and revitalizing the alliance with the United States became top priorities. The government invested in modernizing the armed forces, conducting more joint exercises, and expanding defense cooperation with key partners. The 2016 arbitral ruling, which had favored the Philippines' claims in the South China Sea, was reaffirmed in public statements and diplomatic forums. This signaled a much firmer stance against Beijing's incursions and sent a message to the international community. Public and institutional pressure supported this shift. The military and Coast Guard, wary of China's intentions, pushed for a more assertive approach. Civil society groups and ordinary citizens also voiced their concerns, demanding stronger action to protect national interests. Meanwhile, promised economic benefits from China failed to materialize. Major infrastructure projects stalled or were abandoned, and skepticism about the Belt and Road Initiative grew. This disappointment prompted the government to reconsider its economic partnerships. In response, Marcos Jr. sought new alliances. A historic trilateral summit with the US and Japan solidified a new security framework, opening the door to deeper cooperation on defense, trade, and technology. The pivot was now complete. With the US as the Philippines' only treaty ally, the country had firmly repositioned itself on the global stage, determined to defend its sovereignty and secure its future. China's aggression in the South China Sea has intensified, with Filipino vessels facing harassment. Beijing's gray zone strategy aims to assert control without triggering conflict. Incidents involving water cannons and military-grade lasers have escalated tensions. These actions pose a clear danger to Filipino sailors and have galvanized public opinion against China. Manila's resolve to defend its sovereign rights has strengthened, pushing it closer to allies. China's strategy has backfired, uniting the Philippines and its partners in resistance. In response to China's aggression, the US-Philippines alliance has been revitalized. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement has expanded, granting the US access to strategic sites. Joint military exercises have grown larger, involving allies like Australia, Japan, and the UK. The US supports the modernization of the armed forces of the Philippines, enhancing its capabilities. Political alignment is reinforced, with US officials affirming mutual defense commitments. The alliance, once a Cold War relic, is now a central pillar of Indo-Pacific security. This renewed partnership demonstrates the power of old friendships in facing common challenges. The Philippines is becoming a more capable security partner, not just a passive beneficiary. The alliance's rebirth is a testament to the enduring strength of shared values and commitments. While security ties strengthen, the economic relationship with China remains complex. China is the Philippines' largest trading partner, creating a dilemma for policymakers. The Philippines seeks to diversify economic partnerships, reducing vulnerability to Beijing's pressure. Withdrawal from the Belt and Road Initiative signaled disillusionment with China's investment promises. Manila is strengthening trade ties with the US, Japan, South Korea, and Europe. New agreements in digital services, clean energy, and critical minerals are being explored. The Luzon Economic Corridor aims to develop infrastructure and create jobs. The Philippines is pursuing economic resilience, balancing security imperatives with economic necessities. The Philippines' foreign policy shift is a pivotal moment for the Indo-Pacific region. Experts see Manila's actions as significant pushback against Beijing's expansionism. The Philippines has moved from a potential weak link to a frontline state in defending a rules-based order. Diplomats emphasize that the strategy is about credible deterrence, not confrontation. Manila provides a blueprint for other Southeast Asian nations to stand up to China. Some analysts warn of risks, as Beijing may escalate pressure to deter others. The region hopes deterrence works, avoiding miscalculations that could lead to conflict. The Philippines' pivot is part of a broader trend of hedging and balancing in Southeast Asia. Geopolitical shifts have tangible consequences for ordinary Filipinos. Fishing communities feel more secure with a visible US presence and active Coast Guard patrols. National pride is palpable, with social media filled with support for the new Philippine spirit. The current approach resonates with a deep-seated value of standing up for what is right. Economically, the pivot away from China is celebrated politically, but causes nervousness in some sectors. New investments from the US, Japan, and Europe offer hopeful alternatives. The Luzon Economic Corridor is expected to create jobs and boost the economy. The policy restores a sense of agency and dignity, with Filipinos asserting their sovereignty. The sentiment is clear: friendship must be based on mutual respect, not coercion. The Philippines' foreign policy shift is a defining moment in the struggle for world order. Manila's pivot back to the US is a courageous assertion of national sovereignty. The stakes are high, with the Philippines as a crucial frontline state in the region. Its success or failure will send a powerful message to other nations facing similar challenges. For the US, this is a test of its credibility as a reliable partner. The principles contested in the South China Sea are the foundations of global peace and prosperity. The courage of Filipino sailors and leaders serves the cause of a stable global order. As global citizens, we must pay attention, stay informed, and engage in supporting a rules-based system.